After Canada's National Advisory Committee on Immunization refused to recommend AstraZeneca for people 65 and over, they just don't have data on that. Will provinces, though, still deliver that to people that age? Let's find out. Joining me now is Nova Scotia Premier Iain Rankin. Premier, great to have you back on the program. I want to start with AstraZeneca because your province hasn't officially given word to the federal government yet that Nova Scotia is going to accept your allotted AstraZeneca doses, and we've got 500,000 coming this week. What's the holdup? What's the concern here?
Well, I was just briefed today about the amount that we would be receiving, and so we're working in earnest to find the most effective way that we would be able to utilize that inside of our already organized plan to deliver vaccinations to our age cohorts. So we're still prioritizing with Pfizer and Moderna. So we'll have to see how we can find a cohort that makes the most sense to deliver the vaccine in an age group that's less than 65.
So I'm just intrigued after all this waiting. Can't you just give them to anybody who's not 65? I mean, take your doses and find people to give the AstraZeneca vaccine to. Wouldn't that be just common sense?
Well, that's certainly the plan, but it's not as easy as delivering the vaccine. As you know, there's storage requirements and who's delivering the vaccine. Our pharmacists are now engaged in delivering some of the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines that we know that we had a plan for. So we're going to make sure that we do have something set up before we give the official go-ahead. And like I said, we're working as hard as we can to make sure that we can ensure that we have an effective delivery system for that vaccine that doesn't impede our system that's in place today.
But to be fair, sir, people are desperate for this vaccine. We have had months of this vaccine drought. How is your province not ready? I thought the province as well saying we need more vaccines. Now you're getting vaccines and you're not ready to take them?
We're ready. We're just working on the best way to deliver it to the right people. I'm not going to rush this decision. It was literally a couple hours ago that I was given the number that we would be receiving. We're going to make sure we make a decision that's thoughtful and make sure that doesn't interfere with our plan and our logistics of how we're delivering the vaccine to those that need it the most.
Can you tell us how many you're getting, Premier?
It's roughly 13,000.
So you're getting 13,000. The federal government this week will deliver you 13,000 AstraZeneca, but you haven't said you'll take it. If you decline this allotment of AstraZeneca for 13,000 potential people this week, what will you say to Nova Scotians who are saying, we need this vaccine badly?
Yeah, so let's be clear. Let's not jump to the conclusions that we're saying no to anybody. I received the information, and there is a deadline in the next couple of days to make that decision. So we're underway with how that works, and we'll make sure that any vaccines that we receive are delivered to the people that need it the most, and that work is ongoing right now.
So I'm intrigued with the deadline. Minister Anand says that we're getting the 500,000 tomorrow. That'd be Wednesday. When would you get your 13,000 in Nova Scotia?
I was told that the decision had to be made by the end of this week. We know that there's an expiry date on those vaccines, so we don't anticipate waiting very long to make our decision. Again, I thought it was important to take this interview with you. You wanted to speak to me, and I'm just telling you where we're at as a status today. We're remain focused. We've led the country in testing, and we're among the leaders when you look at people that are completely vaccinated. There's a lot of new information coming out. As you know, AstraZeneca has different success rates than the other vaccines. All of those things are taken into consideration, and we'll be making an informed.
Okay, I'm intrigued by that. I know that Pfizer and Moderna have 94-95% efficacy rate after 2 shots. They say AstraZeneca is 62%, although real-world studies in places like the UK are saying it might be better. Are you saying that's a factor in terms of whether you'll sort of go full speed to try to get them into your province as fast as possible and determining if you're going to maybe accept them?
All factors are being considered. When we look at the age demographics, by far, that's where the vaccines are needed the most, and it was the evidence showed that people under the age of 65 could receive this vaccine. So we're looking at that as a starting point. We're looking at what cohorts that we can look at that would receive this vaccine in an effective way to make sure that we're helping with herd immunity and the right percentages going up. But we'll make that decision, and we'll be soon.
But I'm just spitballing here. If the recommendation from the National Advisory Council on Immunization is saying, we just don't have enough data for people over 65, although Health Canada says it's safe, why don't you say, okay, anybody over 55 will get the AstraZeneca from 55 to 65. We've got 13,000 doses this week. Like, wouldn't just common sense say, if you can get any vaccines, grab them ASAP?
As long as we're not distracting from the plan. So we don't want to interfere with the effectiveness and the efficiency by which we are delivering those vaccines out to, first of all, the 48,000 Nova Scotians that are over the age of 80, by far that need the vaccine the most. We are targeting the end of April for all people, together with our long-term care center. And I don't think that any province is looking at, that I've heard of, that are looking at an age group just near to that. I know one of our neighboring provinces is looking at people in the age of 20s. So you have to set up a system by way you deliver that.
Right, but I'm just trying to figure out, like, what's the bottleneck here? Like, why isn't there a system for that? I'm just trying to figure out, again, if you got 13,000 vaccines this week and you can use them on anyone under the age of 65, are you saying there is no system that could not impede the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines? There's no system in place to get those to anybody that wants them? I'm just a bit stunned by that, because I just assumed that, here we are in March, that you'd be like, we'll take as many as you can throw at us to get the heck out of this pandemic.
We will, but we're prioritizing from the age cohorts and moving down. So again, we just received this information, and we'll be making an informed decision to make sure that all the vaccines that we received are delivered the most effective way possible. And that's what's going to take place with whether it's Moderna, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, or in the future Johnson & Johnson or other vaccines.
Premier, Nova Scotia is strictly following the National Advisory Council on Immunization guidelines on dosing intervals. British Columbia is now saying they are moving to 4 months between first and second doses, not just for AstraZeneca, but for Pfizer and Moderna. Now NAZI's saying don't hold back the second dose. But what are you going to do? Are you going to delay the second dose up to 4 months to get as many people as possible one dose, like they're doing in, say, Quebec and BC?
We had the situation where we were able to hold back that second dose. Things are always evolving, as you know, and I'm hearing about this advice that's coming forward. I had one discussion with Dr. Strang, our Chief Medical Officer, and he's preparing recommendations that are leaning towards holding back that second dose and moving towards looking at what's being presented. If it's a longer period of time, that means we would be able to advance that first dose. We haven't made that final determination, but it sounds, if all things are being equal, we should be able to start advancing the first dose for more Nova Scotians at an earlier timeline.
Okay. I really appreciate your time, Premier. Good luck on a critical week. I appreciate your time, sir.
Like always, thank you very much, Evan.